You're listening to Pipebomb Radio with your host, the founder, Felix Olmedo, and the Godfather, Nate Milton.
Welcome, everybody, to Pipebomb Radio tonight. Thought you guys would like that little entrance here that we do for our Halloween special. It is our Halloween spooktacular, if you'll pardon the lame expression. But tonight, we have two special guests joining us. In the first half of the show, we will have former WWE Tough Enough competitor, Tanner Saraceno. I hope I said that name right. And in the second half of the show, we will have returning to the show, wrestling superstar Vinny Marceglia, who originally we had on the show we were supposed to have on the show earlier this month, but, things happen. We got him to reschedule, and he'll be here tonight. But I should be joined momentarily by my co-host and partner in crime, Nate Milton. He should be calling in just a moment. But we should be calling Tanner as well. He is actually going to be expecting our phone call here soon. So while I see if Nate's going to make it in time, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to call Tanner. Bear with me just a moment, folks. And away we go. Let's see. God help me on dialing on this machine, because sometimes I just don't get it. But maybe I'll get it this time. It's always up in the air with me. Nonetheless, we'll give it our best shot. Fingers crossed the dialer works good tonight. Every now and then it decides to have a mind of its own and doesn't want to work. So, while we wait for Nate to call in, I'm going to go ahead and get this party started and get Tanner on the line and have some fun. Here we go, folks.
Hello?
Hello, is this Tanner?
This is.
Hey, Tanner, this is Felix. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great. I'm just glad that you're able to make some time, because I know you've been really busy as of late, to come on and chat with us for a little bit and just have some fun, because it is our Halloween special, and definitely I'll have some Halloween questions for you down the line here. But
awesome.
I always like to kick
one of my favorite holidays.
Mine too, actually. I always like to kick things off to kind of start things in the beginning and kind of figure out where you came, your background and so forth. But at what age did you get into watching professional wrestling, if you did watch it as a kid?
Ooh, when I was a kid, probably before I could remember, due to the fact that I had two older brothers that were practicing it on me, so I was probably watching it, not knowing. Right. Yeah, they took the liberty of showing me everything before I knew what was happening.
All right. And once you actually started getting into it, I mean, were there any superstars that stood out to you as somebody like, wow, I want to be like that guy. If I get into wrestling, I want to try to be as maybe something like him, or maybe like a Shawn Michaels or an Undertaker or a Triple H. Who stood out to
when
you
I was a kid, Goldberg stood out.
Wow. Okay.
When I was a kid, yeah, he was just a cool, badass dude. He really stood out when I was younger.
All right. And
when I was younger,
I just want to quickly introduce you to my co-host real quick. He is Nate Milton. Nate, you're on there with Tanner. Sorry about that, guys.
How you doing, brother?
Cut you out there.
How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Pleasure to talk to you tonight.
Me too.
All right. I'm sorry about that, man. You were saying about Goldberg. Go ahead.
Yeah, he was just a badass dude, just matching Spearia and just raw power. And I also saw him when he was in a movie. I don't know, you guys may know it. Ready to Rumble.
Yep. Of course I do.
And surprisingly, a lot of people I talk to don't know that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I think that movie's hilarious. And a lot of people I talk to don't know that movie.
Well, you're talking to a bunch of old-time wrestling fans that are here, so We definitely know that movie.
Okay, good.
But, I thought Jimmy King did a great job. Oliver Platt, definitely one of my favorites. But all right, Nate, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to keep you can chime in here and ask a question, man.
All right, man. Like, I think that anybody that watched this season of Tough Enough knew it was a wild and crazy ride. And I was wondering from your perspective, like, how confident were you when you first entered, and then as the season went along, how confident were you that, you know what, I got a shot at this thing?
So, it was kind of like a roller coaster as far as me feeling confident and whatnot. So I started out not really, like when they chose me as the final 40, I was still very skeptical. I thought I was maybe just going just to be a look. I really didn't think I was actually going to make the show. And I didn't think I was what they were looking for. And then once we started going through the drills and stuff and just how I was excelling, athletically, I built up a little bit of confidence that I still thought, because there's always that it factor. And, I didn't see myself as, what they wanted. I was still a little skeptical. And then once we made the show, it wasn't until after I won that first challenge and I started getting a lot of confidence. I was like, well, if this is going off these challenges, I think I should be just fine. And then the following week, I won again, and we had, just any physical challenge, I was just, worlds above everyone. That just obviously helped me feel confident, and then, slowly starting the promo stuff. Initially, like when they said you're going to have to do, an entrance, I was like, oh crap, I've never, had to do anything like this before. I'm going to screw this up really bad. So that's when, I started doubting myself a bit and just thinking that, I may not have enough time to, learn all this stuff and do it effectively, in the short time we had there, convince people that I would be able to. So then it started, weaning down a bit.
Okay. And getting the opportunity to get in there, you actually had a background in MMA a little bit. Did that kind of help you get more familiar with some of the moves they were doing, some of the routines they were doing? I mean, you came in there really strong. You had, let's just say, you definitely proved to people that were saying, well, he's just too arrogant, he's just this, he's that. But you know what? You're going in there and you're kicking ass every week, and you're winning the challenges, and you're looking great. Does that MMA background come into play when you come into this? Is you have to ease back a little bit? I mean, what's the differences in the different types of training that you guys do?
Yeah, the MMA definitely helped me out, and I wrestled in college, so I'm very aware of how the body moves and what I'm going to have to do to make it move. And I have very good body awareness, and I have very good coordination as well, and I'm an athlete, so picking up on the moves and everything, that came fairly easy. I think a lot of people thought I wouldn't be able to, being the smallest guy there, work with Josh or Mata and stuff, doing the lifts and stuff with them, and I think I did. I surprised a lot of people when I was able to pick them up over my shoulders the same way everyone else did. Size, wasn't an issue. It's mostly technique, and I'm, a lot stronger than I may look, which also helped out. And it was fun just getting in there and moving around and doing things their way and stuff was was awesome. And being able to learn all that and have that experience. So I had fun when I was in there. Whenever we were in that ring, it was mostly it was just fun. Even when you don't get something the first time, it's a little frustrating. It's still entertaining and stuff, and you're learning as you're going, and I enjoyed it all.
All right.
Now, when you talk about having that MMA background and then entering the world of pro wrestling, it's something that a few guys have done before. People like Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, even Alberto Del Rio. What was kind of the biggest shock? Because they are similar entities, but they are very different at the same time. So what do you think was the biggest shock when you entered this crazy world of pro wrestling?
The biggest shock. it was probably the amount of showmanship that really goes into each movement and how much they really exaggerate and really play up what they're doing, and not so just I'm going to throw a punch and that's it. There's ways to move your feet and make your body move and to engage the crowd, and you're doing the same thing. It's just how you're doing those punches, or what you're doing after you throw the punch to really draw in the crowd. That was the most entertaining part in my eyes. Dealing with all that and like how it gets reactions out of people. These very, very small, very subtle things that these guys are all able to do. That are the same movements kind of that I'm doing, but just the way they play them up.
Now, I did want to mention earlier, as I said, that we were going to talk a little bit about some Halloween, since it's our Halloween special tonight. I'm going to toss out let's see, going back to your childhood, what was your fondest memory, if you could share? And it doesn't necessarily mean that it could be the most graphic or the most funny or the most nude or whatever stupid shit like that. I mean, honestly, anything that stands out to you as a pretty exciting, pretty fun time for you when you went trick-or-treating as a kid.
Trick-or-treating as a kid? Probably my brother scaring the crap out of me.
How did you do that?
Well, both of them took part. We were, I was just getting towards the age where, our parents were starting to let us, trick-or-treat, on our own. My older brothers were, my chaperones, basically. And I was still young. And we were trick-or-treating, going along, and they brought extra masks. And I didn't know. So they dropped me off at a house, and then they kind of disappeared. And I was, looking around for them, couldn't find them. And I go to the next house, and then I'm still looking for them, can't find them. And then it's kind of like a darker corner. I turn to go around, and they come in these different masks, and they come screaming at me and scare the living crap out of me. And I had no idea it was them, because they changed their shirt and their masks, and they chased me for a good bit before they took off their masks and let me know who the hell they were. But, I about pissed myself. Seeing two who I thought strangers just coming running up to me. I think one had a clown mask and the other was like a dead face, I think. And that was a great time.
Oh man, that's a great story, Tanner. And let's stay on things that may be scary. In terms of whether it be pro wrestling or whether it be MMA. I mean, obviously you got to be a tough dude to compete in either of those worlds. But has there ever been a point where either before a fight or in the middle of a fight, you just like there's a little bit of fear while you're in there? For me, no. I have a different outlook, I think, than most fighters. There's obviously always the fear of getting injured. Especially, I've had a pretty bad injury. I actually broke my ankle in 2 places during one of my MMA fights, and dislocated it. So, I've had, my share of injuries. So there's always that, subconscious fear that's in someone's head. But, a lot of people think of fighting as they're going into war, or, that's what they say, guys, we're going into battle. And I view it very differently, where, this is a voluntary sporting event where I'm signing a waiver, getting medicals, I'm training, and I'm prepared to get in that cage against someone who's doing the same things. So I don't consider it battle, the win-lose. I'm very emotional with my competition, but I don't fear, dying when I go in there or, something life-threatening. As far as going to battle, which some people call it, it's not what we're doing in my eyes. People going to battle are, people in the military who are going overseas and, keeping us safe or, fighting whatever battles they have to with actual bullets flying at their head.
mind you. That's going to battle in my eyes, and what we're doing is different. So I guess a subconscious fear would be maybe injuries, but there's really nothing else that really stands out as something that would the fear that would keep me from doing it.
Okay. And I'm going to go back and stick the Halloween thing because, it's coming up and I got to play with that a little bit. Did you ever visit any particular haunted houses as a kid as you got older? And doesn't necessarily mean you were trick-or-treating, but you were just out with friends or went with your girlfriend or just by yourself to go to a haunted house. And did one stick out to you in your mind as probably one of the scariest ones you've been to, or what have you? Let's talk haunted houses, man.
I've been on when I was really young, or not really young, I'd say below 10. My parents took us on hay rides and stuff like that around Halloween. Those weren't terribly scary. And then when I was about a teenager, I started, going with friends and stuff to actual haunted houses. And I never really got scared by stuff like that. But my brothers, again, being as kind as they are, did scare the crap out of me again. Something kind of related. We went to an abandoned house we found, and we were walking through that in the middle of the night, completely dark. You can't really see in front of you. So they decided to screw with me some more, and they again snuck off, and we were with a group of people. So I was with, I think, 3 other people at the time, and they snuck off and again cornered me in this, what it looked like. It was a house that was slowly falling apart, so you didn't know whether or not it was going to actually, if a strong windstorm came, if it was going to last. And, the walls are falling apart. You can see through some of the walls. Some of the walls are, just completely gone. And they jumped through one of the walls that was halfway down. They jumped through that and just screamed in my face, and I think I actually did pee myself that time. And were kind enough to keep me on my toes. So that was a great experience of haunted houses. All these people pay to go to these haunted houses. What idiots. Just get a couple older brothers and have them take you around.
This sounds like they missed their calling. Could have been a career.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the Halloween theme. And one of the important factors of Halloween is candy, obviously. And I'm wondering, Tanner, obviously you got to be in good shape to do what you do. But there are cheat days. And when you have a cheat day, like what's your go-to? Is it candy? Is it sweets? Or is it pizza? What's your go-to when you take a break from the training?
I have a lot of cheat days. Short of me having to make weight for something, I don't have the best diet. I just work extra hard, in the gym. But I love to eat, especially when I travel. When I travel, I love trying, other countries' foods and their customs and stuff. So, if I'm not in training for something that I have to lose weight for, I'm eating candy. I love my Snickers. I love cake, apple cobbler, apple pie, cheesecake. I love a lot of sweets. I got a big sweet tooth. Bacon, big fan of bacon. Bacon's probably my number one go-to. So, yeah, my mother's an incredible baker, so I always have those on demand. So short of me, actually, I'm currently right now actually meal prepping for, the next few days because I do have a fight coming up in November. So I've got to lose some weight for that. So I'm actually meal prepping for that right now, so that's not entirely fun. But as soon as that gets done.
Meal prep all the time.
Yeah. as soon as I'm done with that fight, I will be eating, cheeseburgers, donuts. Probably have a big steak that night with maybe some fried food. No, just have a bunch of fried stuff that night.
Right. Now, you actually you had reunion with your Tough Enough crew up in Jersey. I think it was Jersey. Recently,
Yeah.
And you got to meet my girl China. Well, how was
I
that?
did. That was awesome. She's a very cool girl, or woman, excuse me. She was very, very nice and very. She offered some insight and stuff. We were able to talk a bit in between signings and stuff. She's a really nice woman.
That's cool. Looks like you guys had a great time with meeting a lot of the legends that were out there, and that was an experience. I definitely don't think we've seen the last of you guys. I think you guys will definitely be making your rounds in the wrestling circuit from here on out. What do you think?
There's definitely some. I believe there's some guys, that got contracts and stuff, and I had talked with them, and at the moment they weren't looking for me. They said I have to change a few things, so maybe later on down the line come back and see if there's something I can work my way back in. So for now I'm out, but I know some other guys will be making some appearances rather soon. A lot of contract information isn't real. I'm pretty sure about guys that have received developmental contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think the good thing right now when it comes to the wrestling business, Tanner, is while the WWE is the biggest fish in the pond, we're now in an age where you've got options, whether it be an ROH or, Global Force can get off the ground. TNA is still out there, AAA. So let's say that the WWE is not an option right now. Are there any other places that kind of pique your interest?
Even Japan, too.
Yeah, New Japan is doing really well right now.
I have, I talked with, some of my coaches, and they suggested that I kind of stick with the MMA for right now, and make a big name with that. And I've been having some success, some very good success with the MMA so far, and I have some things lining up that are looking pretty good for the future. So I'm going to primarily stick with that for now. Once things slow down, I may be able to dabble into both, and maybe do small scale shows with the wrestling and stuff.
Okay.
But for the immediate future, it's going to be mostly MMA.
Well, let me ask you this then, Tanner. Let's say you work hard and all of your wildest dreams come true. At the end of the day, would you rather be John Cena, the biggest name in wrestling, or would you rather be John Jones, arguably the best fighter in UFC history? Like, if the book is written on Tanner when it's all said and done, do you want to go down as a great MMA fighter or as a great wrestler?
Or entertainer?
I think I would rather go down as a great fighter. For me, it's just the way my mind works. I enjoy the sport of, one-on-one sheer combat. What I put in, what you put in, who's going to win. That it appears to me more, and they're really kind of two different aspects of competition. These guys are all competing to be the best, but it's scripted entertainment. So there's always that aspect, and it is in your hands how successful you will be, in the sports entertainment, industry. But at the same time, it may not be, you may not be what, for some reason people are looking for at that time. Maybe, you're the generation that is the primary watcher, just may not be into you for some reason. Maybe they're looking for something different that you just don't offer. So, in MMA, that really doesn't entirely play a role, as far as your success goes. There is showmanship that goes into the MMA, especially nowadays. There's good fighters popping up everywhere. So now it's not just can you win a fight? It's can you be exciting? Can you finish a fight? Can you entertain a crowd? while you're fighting, and or even while you're not fighting. In press conferences or
a fight like Conor McGregor.
I'm sorry.
I think can you talk of a fight is an important part now. It's like look at a guy like Conor McGregor.
Exactly. Yeah, and he's that guy. He's awesome. I enjoy him. It's not exactly the personality I could portray or the mouth that I could run off, but I do enjoy listening to that man speak. He has got a mouth on him, and he is good at what he does. And he can back it up as well. So
yeah,
why not?
All right. And my final question for you tonight, man, is you mentioned your upcoming shows. Let's go ahead and throw out some plugs on your social media and your upcoming shows and where people can find you if they need you or if they want to see you.
Yeah, so anyone who's in, South Carolina or North Carolina, depending where you are, I'll be fighting November 14th for the USFFC Welterweight Championship. I'm currently the middleweight champion, and I'm actually dropping weight classes to go for the Welterweight Championship. And that'll be in Greenville, South Carolina at the TD Convention Center. So, I'd love to have fans come out to that and support me there, and obviously I'll take pictures, and I'd love to meet some of these fans that are local to me that were rooting for me when I was on the show and stuff. And any information or anything like that, obviously you can find me on Facebook at Tanner the Hammer Saraceno. My Instagram is hammer_Saraceno, and then my Twitter account, which I actually just changed the handle on it, it's at Tanner's Legend. I was trying to put my own name, but I think someone else took my name before I could get to it. So
I gotta love the fans, right?
Yeah. So kudos to whoever that was. And if you wanted to, exchange, please let me know so someone else doesn't take it. I'd love to use my own name as my Twitter handle. But until then, it is Tanner's Legend. You can find me on Twitter, and I'll have all the information you guys need.
All right, man. Now, as we go ahead and wrap this up, I just want to ask, I know I said it was my last question, but would you ever be opposed to doing a podcast, running one on your own, or even coming on as doing these like a guest co-host kind of thing, or just have you ever been opposed to doing a podcast?
No, I have no oppositions to it. I'm not very good with technology, so I'd probably screw it up. I'd probably end up just talking to myself, and no one would be able to listen to it.
Been there, done that.
Why is no one asking me questions?
The reason I ask is because we definitely would love to have you come on back, and even if it's just as a guest or even on one of our other shows that we do, because sometimes we'll do a show where we talk about the upcoming pay-per-views or general chat about just what's going on in the world of wrestling, or I know Nate will throw in other things like what he talked about on his shows or whatever, because I know he talks more other sports than I do. But I mean, if you're ever interested in coming back, man, we'd love to have you on and have some fun and just talk some wrestling and other stuff that goes on as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love to be back. You guys running the podcast would probably be a lot more productive than me running it. So we'll stick with that for now.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be back, and just for all my fans that are out there listening, it'd be a great way for you guys to keep up on what I'm doing and what my plans are in the near future, and
sure,
every few months or so, definitely some accomplishments.
If you have anything else that you want to promote on the upcoming future, just let me know, and we'll figure out a way to bring you on and have some more fun. But in the meantime, on behalf of Nate and myself, we want to thank you for taking time tonight and chat with us, and we hope you have a great Halloween and nobody scares the hell out of you.
Yeah. Well, now I carry, so I really hope no one scares the hell out of me.
You might scare the hell out of them.
I don't care if that's politically correct or not. It is true. So do not scare the crap out of me if you see me.
All right, man. Well, you have yourself a good night, and thanks again for calling in tonight. All right,
thank you, guys.
All right, take care.
All right, brother.
That was fun. I always enjoy talking to him. He's I always enjoy. Like I talked to him many times before. Listen to me. I half the time I don't remember who I talked to anymore. But But we're going to keep the show going. We should have our next guest here calling in shortly. He is a former guest of the show, and he is actually calling in now, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
The one and only Vinny, and I swear I slaughter his last name every time I say it, and I apologize for that. Vinny Marcellium, and I swear if I said it wrong, I know. If you're listening, Vinny, please correct me. Is that you, Vinny?
Yep, that's me.
Did I slaughter your last name, bud?
Nope, you said it exactly how it should be said.
I swear I think I'm saying it wrong every time I say it. I just don't know if I... Anyway, enough about that.
No, that was right.
We appreciate you coming back on, man. It's been far too long. It's been about almost over 2 years since we had you on.
Yeah, it's been a while.
New changes on the show. We got a new co-host with me. Austin's no longer with the show, but we got a good man here, Nate, and tonight we're going to have some fun and talk about what's been going on with you. And also, because I remember your crazy sense of humor, the kind of stuff that you'd like to collect, and we got to find out what kind of other stuff you collected as far as the horror genre goes. But, Nate, I'm going to let you kick things off and ask Vinny anything you want to ask him, and we'll have some fun.
Sounds good, brother. I'm doing good, Vinny, and we had a chance. What was it, 2 weeks ago, Felix? When we had that round table.
Yep.
We had a great round table with Danny Cage and Luke Hawks and Rudy Boy, and so training is something that's been on my mind lately. And you were trained by Spike Dudley, and I want to know what that experience was like and how that prepared you for this crazy world of pro wrestling.
When I first went to Spike, I had a little bit of experience before I actually started training with Spike. It was just kind of like the smaller like VFW shows and stuff where a bunch of guys just like they had a ring and you just kind of imitate what you see. And then somebody came and noticed that I was somebody that worked out and actually wrestling was kind of in my heart more than it was anybody there. So he had told me to go to Spike Dudley's school in Fall River, so I ended up going, me and somebody else, and he just asked us to have a match, like, in the ring, just kind of on the fly, and it was pretty bad. It was actually really bad, and we could do all the moves, we just didn't know how to tell a story in a match or any of the psychology of it or any of the in-depth stuff that I know now. So when we were done, he just basically said, you guys don't know anything of what you're doing. So I got overwhelmed for a bit and just kind of figured I really didn't. I actually kind of knew I didn't. I knew that I could do all the moves and all the other stuff, but I knew I didn't know anything as far as what he wanted to or ended up teaching me. And then, ever since then, I've been a student of the school, 6 years now since I started with Spike. And, I'm thankful for that I was able to train with Spike because he no longer does it right now at the school. So I'm glad I got in there at the tail end before he left to do his other stuff that he's doing now.
All right. And since we last spoke to you, there have been some definite changes in regards to your life, and you became a father. You got married. I think you got married first, but I could be wrong. But and your rest. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. I got married, and actually today's my anniversary.
Nice.
Believe it or not.
Happy anniversary, man.
Thank you. So 2 years ago, we got married.
Wow.
I've actually known my wife since when we were little. We grew up. She lived behind me, and we grew up, and her parents and my parents were really close. And then, and then we had my daughter who just turned 1 on the 12th of this month. So that there's definite change with that since we last talked.
Sure. And what a month to have all that happen coincidentally in the month of Halloween.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got more questions for you, but I'm going to turn that over to Nate now. Go ahead, Nate. I'm sorry.
You talk about those life changes, Vinny, and I wonder, this business of pro wrestling. We've talked to a lot of guys just in the time that I've been with Pipebomb Radio, and it's a consuming thing. How do you make that balance between your family life and wrestling?
My wife's pretty supportive of it. We actually on Monday nights we'll watch Raw together and stuff, and watch the show. And she actually knows somewhat about it because I talk to her so much about it. Yeah, and even when I got married and had my daughter, I took time off. I actually got really fat. Not really fat, but I wasn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't dieting, I wasn't working out, because why would I? I'm not doing it right now anyways. But it's crazy because I took that time off, and like right before I left, I was kind of, getting some steam behind me, and, real life took over, so I had to, put wrestling on the shelf for a little bit. But once you're out of sight, you're out of mind for sure, because when I came back, I just felt like I just wasn't even wanted around, basically. But it really wasn't that. It was just me feeling that way because before I left, I had something going. And then I wanted to just get back into it once everything was clear. The baby was good. We had a house and all that other stuff. I wanted to get back into it because, I don't know, for some reason I try to do everything else, but I always go in full circle back to wrestling. So I ended up coming back. I got into shape. I took my dieting seriously, and I got back in the ring. And of course, 2 shows later, I dislocate my shoulder, and that puts me on the shelf a little longer. I was so motivated at the time to, but I healed up pretty quickly. But it was just it was a depressing, couple of, I think it was a month or 2. Just because I couldn't, I wanted to get on the roll again, and, that totally cut me off from what I, wanted to do. So, but now I'm good. I put on a lot more size since, we actually last talked. I follow really, I'm in the gym every day, dieting and whatnot. But yeah, I feel actually the best now than I ever have before in wrestling. And I kind of found my own thing. Like, I'm doing this thing. I don't know if you guys see the Ink Sanity thing.
Heard of it?
I use it in a lot of tags. It's Ink Sanity instead of Insanity. So I was just kind of messing around because I have tattoos everywhere, as you guys know. So I was just messing around online. I came across a shop or something that was called Ink Sanity out of somewhere. So I just figured I'd use it, and it's been really catchy with everybody. So I think now I've found myself in wrestling more than I ever have before, So
okay,
and that's probably just maturing outside of the ring too. I think it just makes you mature in the wrestling business itself as well.
And do you have aspirations to want to work with WWE, or if you don't make it there, will it matter really?
Yeah. And especially right now, because I'm actually pretty happy with my body the way it looks right now. And since I've kind of been on a roll with this new little, thing that I'm doing, I'm just more confident than I've ever have been with myself in wrestling. I am hopefully going to go back to Ring of Honor, so that's a start. But definitely. I'd love to eventually get on NXT as well. I mean, that's the goal. Everybody wants to be on WrestleMania one day, right?
Sure. Well, my goal would be to actually call a match at WrestleMania. Maybe I get to call yours, right? You never know.
Yeah. You never know.
Right. But
just as long as you don't beat the Undertaker, Vinny, because I don't know if Felix can take that.
Oh shit! Here we go.
What was that?
Just as long as that match isn't you beating the Undertaker, because that would break Felix's heart.
Right. Well, I mean, he would be like the ideal guy you'd want to work with at WrestleMania. But yeah, that's well, you never know. So.
Well, you talked about ROH there for a second, Benny, and this is Felix and I have been talking about this for a few months now. You're in an era where there's more options now than there were maybe 5-10 years ago when it comes to places to work and earn a living. You got ROH, you got AAA, New Japan is doing great things, PWC, TNA is still around, and Jeff Jarrett's working on the GFW thing. So as a wrestler, when you see all these options available to you, is it kind of hard to say, okay, this is the path where I want to go, or this is where I think will lead me to the places I need to get to, or do you have, a set goal that you're like, okay, I need to do this, and this because that'll get me here?
For me, I would take. It's hard, you know what I mean? Because my goal would to be in the WWE. That's that's the mother of all wrestling. It's not the the be all. Like I said, I would like to do Ring of Honor, because I feel right now if I can get some more television experience under my belt, with them, you know what I mean? I think it would be better off. And they're a great group of guys too. I love the locker room and all the workers on that show, and I want to work everybody on that entire roster. So I would love to be a part of Ring of Honor, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm. Now I got to jump into the Halloween shit because it's our Halloween show. We got to have some fun with that.
Yeah, I'm watching Friday the 13th. I'm watching the Friday the 13th marathon on AMC right now.
Oh, here we go. See.
Yeah.
We got the pot there. We got to keep it. We got to keep the pot stirring there with some Halloween stories here. And at what age did you start trick or treating? That's one part of my question. And what were some of the characters that you remember dressing up as that stood out to you? It's like, damn, that was a good character. I had fun with that.
Holy shit. Those are some, yeah, those are good questions. Because, I mean, as far as trick-or-treating goes, I mean, probably before I can remember because, my mom's huge into Halloween. That's how I really got into it. She watches all the scary movies still to this day, and we watched them with her when we were kids, me and my brother. So definitely really young. And then as far as characters that I remember being, let's see, I was a Ninja Turtle. I was Raphael. I was the Ultimate Warrior 1 year.
Okay.
That was last year. No, I'm just kidding. I was I was probably 7 or something like that. But then I was Ghostbusters, one of the Ghostbusters. I was holy smokes. I was Jeff Hardy at Spooky World.
Really?
Yeah. It was when I went to go meet them. It was when they first came around. And I went to Spooky World because they used to do that years ago, have a lot of the WWE guys go to the Spooky World to sign autographs or whatever when Spooky World first came out. And that's I went there because everybody would dress up, or you had to dress up or something like that rather. And then I dressed up as Jeff Hardy, because I was going to meet him. And then every other year I was Jason or Michael Myers. I don't know, because I'm a big fan of those movies ever since I was little. My mom even dressed up a lot and sat out on the front lawn and scared kids. So I
love it.
I still do that too. But yeah, that's as many characters as I can really remember. It was always from those movies, the Jasons or the Michael Myers and stuff like that. I was never a big fan of Freddy. I don't know. I just couldn't get into him. I don't even know why. I just couldn't. But always a big Jason, Michael Myers. I love all the creep shows. The Lost Boys is my favorite movie of all time. And
you mean you weren't a fan of Twilight?
No, I wasn't. Not at all. No, I didn't even give the first one a chance. I think. Yeah, no. What about you guys? What's like your favorite, like, horror movies or?
See, I love like Jason and Michael Myers. Those are classics. I like some of the sillier stuff. You know, some of the the horror movies, but they have the comedy elements to them.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I like a good scare, but I also like a good laugh. But I need the two combined.
Okay, I got you. Is that it? What else? Anyone else?
What about you, Billy?
Honestly,
if you had to pick one favorite horror movie
that I like, well, you know, I look at it now as a grown up, and I look back on how cheesy the effects were back then. But the movie that scared the daylights out of me, and I can laugh about it now, was the Poltergeist series, the movies.
Oh yeah,
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, those are
Carol Ann and the fact that everybody died after all the movies were made, and just little things here and there. And I mean, part 2 had some of the most cheesiest special effects. And looking at it now as a grown up than I did as a kid. Now I'm like, oh my God, that it's creepy, but it's so cheesy.
Did you see the remake for it?
I saw the remake. I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. It just didn't do it.
Me neither. Yeah, no, me neither.
But I was always a big fan of the Michael Myers movies, Halloween the original with the Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right.
And then after the 15,000 reinventions, it just got old. I mean, I watched the H2O, and that was cool. But when they killed her off, that killed it for me.
I always thought, and I tell my wife this all the time, that they should have, for the original Halloween series, the second one should have been the last one, and that's it. He should have just stopped. Like, if they want to do the thing where he gets shot in the first one, whatever, and he gets up, maybe he wasn't shot and killed. But when he gets burned at the hospital in the second one, that's pretty much a done deal. I don't care how psycho you are. If you get lit on fire, you're done. So I think they should have had the second one. But
that makes sense.
There's some other ones that are good though. Part 6 I like, and then I like Season of the Witch. I know a lot of people hate it because he's not in it, but if it was considered a separate Halloween movie, just in general, and just called Season of the Witch, I think people would like it a lot more.
I think so too, because you put it into a series about a homicidal maniac wearing a mask, killing people, and then part 3 comes in, has absolutely nothing to do with that. Right. And then you put it together with this series, it just didn't make any sense.
Right.
But, I digress. I mean, I got a kick out of, and I say it because of the comedy factor, because Robert Englund as Freddy, his laugh is synonymous because that's just a whole part of that scary genre of the 80s and the late 90s. And even when he did Jason versus Freddy, it was so ridiculously funny. It wasn't scary.
Yeah, he was good.
And his commentary,
he added to it. I actually really hate that movie. My wife likes it a lot. It's one of the ones that she always wants to watch, but I don't like that movie.
But
I'll tell you what I love, like a series that I don't think gets enough shine, and I guess they're doing a reboot is Evil Dead.
Yeah, I like the remake and the original. Do you guys watch American Horror Story?
I tried to get into that. I just couldn't for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about giving it a shot again. I don't know.
Yeah, this season that they just started is pretty crazy. So if you can, catch up on that, it's pretty. Do
you catch up? Do you watch that, Nate?
I have never seen an episode. I've got a friend that swears by it, but I haven't seen an episode yet.
All right.
Yeah, if you guys have time, check it out. It's definitely worth it.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you now, Vinny. Tell us a little bit about your collection, because I know you used to post pictures about some of the horror genre collection that you were collecting. Do you still collect, and what do you?
Yeah, I haven't.
How much have you got?
I still do. I just haven't because of like the baby and like the house and stuff. So I had to like take care of all that. But I still got all like my Lost Boys jackets. I have the Michael Myers mask signed by the original actor.
Oh wow!
With the knife. I got a Killer Clowns display, and then I have Friday the 13th masks, like from each. Like I have one from the final chapter, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason Lives, and then the New Blood, and it's they're signed on the inside.
Did Jason go to space in one of the movies? Wasn't he in space?
What's that?
Yeah, he was in space. He was in space.
In space in one of those movies?
Yeah, we'll pretend that didn't exist. That movie. We'll just pretend that didn't even come out. But
well, let's not even talk about Leprechaun too.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Yeah. But I like a lot of the the older the Night of the Living Dead, Night of the Creeps. All like the older stuff more than like what they have today.
Okay.
I do like Jurassic World a lot. Did you guys watch Jurassic World?
Cool.
Yeah,
I
liked
it.
Yeah, I liked it.
Definitely. When they showed the Jurassic Park, when the whole new park and it being revamped, and you hear that Jurassic Park theme from 1993, I don't know. I kind of got a little nostalgic. Nostalgic there, but but it was a good movie for what it was. But
I agree.
Let's delve back into the wrestling world one more time here, and want to ask going forward. I think I might have asked you this, but I don't recall if I did. I'm going to pose that question to you now, as we are since it's been about 2 years since I asked you. If you had your dream opponent, who would it be? It could be in a tag match. It could be one-on-one. However you like.
Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Shawn Michaels. Yeah.
Like a one-on-one encounter, or
one-on-one. Yeah, one-on-one. It's me versus Shawn Michaels.
Have you met him at all?
I have once.
Nice. All right.
At a show. He was cool, but those guys don't really they come and do their thing and then they just leave. So, But no complaints. But that'd be my my first pick.
All right.
Okay. Well, obviously, we are talking, a mixture of spooky things
and
Halloween.
And I'd also, for some reason, I would like to work Dolph Ziggler. I feel like I could have a good match with him. I just feel like the match would be really good. So he's somebody that he's somebody that I would definitely like to wrestle with.
Yeah, and then of course let's throw in the Undertaker.
Yes.
Well, the Undertaker leads me to my question, because wrestling.
Everyone wants to wrestle the Undertaker. My dad want to wrestle the Undertaker. He's been around forever. You know what I mean? He is, WWE.
Absolutely. When you talk about Taker, there's this history of wrestling doing characters that are either supernatural or based on horror. Who would you say would be your favorite? Is it the Undertaker, or is it maybe someone else that fits into that category?
I am a huge fan of Bray Wyatt.
Yes.
So, I think he does a great job at just so entertaining. When I watch him, I feel like I'm watching a horror movie. With his promos, I think he's great. I think he's just awesome. So he'd probably be my pick.
It's a good fit. It's a good fit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you catch Hell in a Cell? And what are your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry?
What are your thoughts? I don't know if you had a chance to catch Hell in a Cell and also Raw this week, but what are your thoughts if you had a chance to see it on what they're doing with the Wyatt and Taker and Kane right now?
I read it. I didn't catch it because actually on Mondays right now, I help out Mike Bennett and Matt Taven run a training down over here in Providence. So they have a school now. So I'm there on Monday nights helping those guys run training. So I don't really catch Raw like I did before. And the Hell in a Cell I actually didn't catch because I actually worked a show Sunday. So I didn't catch any of it, but I did read some of it, how they're doing like the Taker and the Kane and with the Wyatt stuff. Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, it's different, you know.
You know, definitely too with Matt Taven. He's a former guest of the show. Incredible guy to talk to. Definitely looking forward to trying to see if we can get Mike Bennett on the show. He's been somebody I've been trying to get on for years, and who knows? Maybe one day it'll happen. But Matt Taven is a hell of a guy, and we're glad we had him on, and you as well. And I definitely want to ask you before we wind it up, because I know it's getting late over in your neck of the woods. But what upcoming shows do you have? And just go ahead and plug your social media, and that way if people want to know what you're doing, where they can follow, where would it be?
I have this Sunday, it's a big show actually. It's in Providence, Rhode Island, where I'm from. It's XWA, Extreme Wrestling Alliance Resolution 15 is the name of the show. I'm in a 6-man ladder match. But there's also, we have, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett and Maria, the Kingdom. Then we have Tommaso Ciampa is on the show, Delirious, AJ Styles. There's a lot of guys on the show. It should be a big show. And then I have, I would have to actually look at my, schedule to tell you, but I got a bunch of, but that's the one that I'm focused on right now, obviously, because it's the closest one coming. So, but, and there's a lot of cool stuff, going on. I'm going to get myself down to the Ring of Honor camp the following weekend, because they got a big camp going on over there in Philly. I'll keep everybody posted with all my stuff on social media. Vinny Marseglier is the Facebook, and then my Twitter handle is X Sanity. That's it, and just my name you can look me up too, and it's the same for Instagram. And that's pretty much all I got.
All right, man. Nate, did you have any final questions for Vinny tonight?
I just want to say, man, it was fun talking to you for the first time, brother. Yeah. And I think the first time I ever saw you was it was an episode of ROH when you took on, I want to say, Davey Richards. And I thought that was I thought it was a really good match. I saw a tape of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, that was great. That was a lot of fun. He's awesome. He took care of me. He was great to work with. I would love to work with him again too. So yeah, that was great.
I saw that tape. I'm like, oh man, this guy's good. So it's been cool to really talk to you for the first time.
Thank you.
Man, we wish you nothing but the best. Again, happy anniversary, and I hope you have a good Halloween.
Thank you.
And one last thing before I let you go. Did you ever collect those Garbage Pail Kids at all?
I didn't. I hate those. My wife likes the Garbage Pail Kids. I can't stand that movie.
Well, no, I'm saying as far as the cards and stickers they had, because I remember having them too. So.
No, that's all her.
All right.
That's all her.
Nice. She's got good taste. What can I say? But, all right, Vinny. Well, we appreciate you taking time to come on and have some fun with us and talk, not just wrestling, but definitely the horror genre and Halloween in general. Hope your daughter has a great
Halloween special, right? That's what this is, Halloween special. So gotta live up to it.
And your daughter has a great trick-or-treating experience, and you guys have a great anniversary tonight, or had a great anniversary. It's almost, I think it is midnight, actually. So
yeah, on the dot.
All right, man.
All right,
we appreciate
guys.
you taking time, and we'll be in touch. And hopefully we'll have you back on again, hopefully a lot sooner than 2 years.
Absolutely.
All right, Vinny.
All right, brother. Have a good one. All right.
And there you have it, folks. 2 for the price of 1. We had 2 people in a 1 hour time period. Tanner was awesome, great guy to talk to. Very soft spoken. I didn't expect that. I'll be honest, I expected him to be more of a smart ass, but he didn't. He wasn't. He was very down to earth, very, very cool, very easy to talk to. I really expected that smart ass personality that you saw on TV, and he was really a great guy. I mean, kudos to him. I mean, and then we had Vinny. Vinny is just an amazing guy. I always get a kick out of seeing the posts he put up. He's just a hell of a guy that is just, let's just say he's fun. And his personality as far as the horror genre, I dig that. And that's another reason I thought he'd be perfect for the Halloween special, too. And if you heard the intro of the show, Nate, we got to give big thanks to Nate and Felix. But not only that, we got to give them thanks to Elio 2-Inch Canella for the awesome intro for the show tonight for our Halloween special. Just wait till you hear what we have when we close the show tonight. But Hell in the Cell, Monday Night Raw. The last 2 days have been interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
Some people would complain about the endings or the starts or whatever of certain matches. You know, I will say 3 things stood out to me out of the whole show. And this is not saying the rest of the show was bad, because it really wasn't. I was entertained for what it was. 3 things stood out to me that was amazing, and that was the return of Alberto Del Rio, teaming with Zeb Coulter, of all people. The second one was that the Divas, your girl Nikki Bella and my girl Charlotte, had an incredible match. And third, well, let's just say I was not disappointed with how the match ended with Undertaker and Brock. Would I have liked him to win? Absolutely. But the fact that he didn't, I mean, is anybody really going to care? No, not really. I mean, the applause that he got, the standing ovation that he got, the thank you Taker chant, that gave me chills. That was amazing. The show of respect they have for this man, and it was in my hometown, of course, in the Staples Center here in California, and then the twist that nobody saw coming, the Wyatt family attacked The Undertaker and carry him out. 24 hours later, Kane comes down to take on the Wyatts to, defend his family's name. Gets beat down and carried out. Now, what is to expect with the Survivor Series in just a few weeks? They're planning something special for Taker for his 25th anniversary with the company and with Survivor Series too, I think. Overall, those 3 things stood out to me. Nothing that's saying that none of the other matches weren't good, because they were great. But those 3 things, definitely. As far as Raw goes, I'll get into that in just a bit. But what was your take on Hell in the Cell itself?
I thought Hell in the Cell was, there were, I'd say, 3 really good matches. I think Brock Taker, Roman Reigns surprised me in the Bray Wyatt match. And then, of course, the return of Alberto Del Rio, which, we kind of talked about last week with Mike Mills, but I still thought it might have been a long shot. But when Del Rio came back and you saw the ovation from the crowd, and not only was he back, but he was back with Zeb Coulter. So it was like, oh, man, what are they doing here? I thought that was really cool. The only other thing I really thought was worth your time in terms of watching on the show was the New Day and the Dudleys. So it's kind of an average show with about 3 really good matches, but those matches were really good. Brock Taker, the ending surprised me, but I think that it didn't hurt Taker to lose. Brock came out looking strong, if not more of a heel than he had before going into the match. And then you've got the stuff with the Wyatts that we get now. And I think that has the potential to be really, really good, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, Felix, but much like my Alberto Del Rio prediction that came true, I'm going to make another prediction this week when it comes to the Wyatts and Takers. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
All right. You know, the people complain the most about the whole ending of Kane and Seth Rollins. But let me ask you guys, those that are listening in tonight, what did you expect? I mean, they're not nothing against Kane because he's a dedicated employee. He's stood the test of time, going on almost 20 years with the company and this character. He is at an age now where the title is irrelevant. It's not going to make or break his career because he's established a great career for himself. And there's no shame in this. But, I mean, to be honest with you, he was a stepping stone because they're wanting to build this possible new lead head man of the company in Roman Reigns. They've been trying it for almost a year and a half now, unsuccessfully, might I add. But they're trying. They're really trying. They're working hard with this guy because they see him as being the next guy. Once Cena hangs it up, and Cena don't have much time left. I mean, and they've got to start moving fast because time's running out. Cena's been on top for well over a decade, almost. Gosh, I'm going to say, when did he come in? 2002, almost 15 years. 2002 or 2003? I think it was 2003. But I don't know. The whole thing with Rollins and not Rollins, excuse me, Reigns and Wyatt ended the way it should have. It was done. It was over with. It was a one-on-one match inside Hell. It was a great match. And then they come on to Raw, and you knew once he was done, they were going to put him into this title picture, and he predicted his winner. The fact that they allowed these other three competitors into the match was great. I would have preferred to see, and just my opinion, Kevin Owens or even Del Rio get back into the title picture again because, I mean, we all know they're not going to let Ziggler get involved. He's going to have his thing with Tyler Breeze now. So the other two logical choices would have been, Owens and Del Rio. Del Rio's come back with such momentum because nobody expected him to come back. Nobody did, and I'll be honest, I was a little surprised because I think they found to quote the legendary $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, everybody's got a price, and I think they reached his. I think they reached his, and it's just a matter of the fact that WWE was really losing a lot of momentum in Mexico. And they desperately needed a Mexican star, and I mean desperately, because if they hadn't had this deal made, they may not have been able to come back to Mexico. And that's just the God's honest truth. Fans, don't get me wrong, they love the stars like Taker and Shawn and Ric Flair and all those big names, but you can't rely on them. They don't really need to be on these tours because what the hell does it get? They're part-timers at that. They can't do a full-time schedule anymore. They're just not physically up for it anymore. They need a new younger star to get in there. Rey Mysterio. People are saying, well, what about Rey? Honestly, he's done. There's not much more he has left in the tank. And you know what? He has nothing left to prove. As far as Raw goes, I hate to admit it, but the more as time goes on, I don't know if I can deny it. They are pushing Seth Rollins to beat CM Punk's record. If he does not lose until WrestleMania, he damn sure is on a good way on the road to doing that. And I'm not saying it'll probably be past WrestleMania that he holds on to the title, but maybe not. It does seem to me that that's going to happen. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man?
I think that you might be right because they've been shown to be petty in the past, but I also think that, and we saw this on Raw this past week, Felix, that the Roman Reigns freight train, for lack of a better term, is back on the tracks, and they're really going forward with this Reigns push. And so it would not surprise me if Roman Reigns beat Seth Rollins before WrestleMania. And I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen before Survivor Series, but maybe at the Rumble. Reigns beats Rollins, and then at the end of the night, you have whoever wins the Rumble come out and stare down Roman Reigns, and maybe it's Brock Lesnar, and that's the match that we get a rematch from last year in the main event.
All right. Yeah, but I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that Roman doesn't have it in him to be the man, but he sure is not showing it. They need to pull him. Honestly, I would like to see out of Reigns is him being pulled away from the Shield persona and be his own person, because he's the one that's kind of hung on to that to be relevant, and it's not helping. It's just not.
Yeah.
Ambrose pulled away, and so is Rollins, but he hasn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's a big problem. But another part of it, Felix, I think, is he's almost got this split personality. He's almost like he's bipolar, because in the ring, he's very charismatic physically. You know what I mean? From the Superman punch, the spears, like the power impact moves he does. Like during that four-way last night, you know, when he hits the drive-by from outside of the ring, and then, you know, he goes back in and ends up spearing, who was it, Del Rio that he pinned? It was Owens. Ended up pinning Kevin Owens. And I think that inside the ring, when it comes to physical stuff, he's got charisma. But when they give him a microphone, when they want him to do promos or backstage segments, it's just not clicking. So you've got a guy that is somebody that the fans can get behind when he wrestles, but when he talks, it's like they have no interest in him whatsoever. And they've got to figure out a way to change his persona, figure out a way to allow him to show that true personality, whether that means that he has to become a heel to do that, I don't know. But they've got to figure out some way to make the in-ring connect with the character and the personality of Roman Reigns.
Agreed. I don't know. I mean, maybe people are afraid of change. Maybe they just don't think he's ready for it. Maybe they're used to that polarizing figure that Cena has been in the last 13 years, 12 years. It's so polarizing, in fact, that Randy Orton couldn't even get past it. CM Punk had a few steps over it, but ultimately was never able to beat it. He beat it for some time. I'm giving that. He outsold him on merchandise during his heyday, but that wasn't enough. That polarizing figure is still very polarizing there. It's very strong, and it's going to be hard to beat. But if they don't try now, they'll never know, and they're going to suffer more when this guy decides to hang it up.
Yeah.
You know, you can't rely on the older stars anymore, because a lot of them are just not physically capable. And with now them not allowing the guys over 50 to do too much wrestling, with the exception of the Undertaker, then you know, what's left? You sure as hell can't rely on NXT to carry it for you. Not saying that they're not doing a great job, because they are, but they're not allowing anybody to progress into main event level. They're keeping them when they give them their shot. When they think they're not doing great, they back down again. That to me was something they tried to do with Kevin Owens. He shot to immediate fame with in main event level with Cena, and then after their feud was done, he was back relegated down to mid card. And then what? Same thing with Cesaro. Cesaro, that guy has not done anything relevant. I mean, no, I think that's a bad choice of words. He hasn't done. They haven't given him shots to do much of anything since he and Tyson had to in their tag team. I just don't know. Maybe he's just that something they believe would be a good champion, because he's got a great following. But maybe again, this is just. I'm a wrestling fan. I will always be one, and I have opinions, but not everybody's going to agree with it. But these are people that deserve the push, and if you, I don't know.
But I think what it is, Felix, when you're hitting on it, is that there is a certain level that guys are allowed to get to, whether it be Cesaro, whether it be Kevin Owens, whether it be Dolph Ziggler, whether it be somebody like a Wade Barrett. or the New Day. Like, the New Day to me is one of the best things on Raw each and every week. And I would love to remember, like, a couple weeks ago when they laid everybody out and we thought they were going to take the New Day a little bit more seriously. I don't know what happened to that, but I would love to see Big E be put in a position where he's a contender for the world title, because he is somebody that can be physical in the ring, that can put on good matches, but he also has a personality. But they don't want to give a guy like that a chance to get to that next level. You know, they have a guy like Roman Reigns, who, like I said, he can do some impressive things in the ring, but he is very limited. But that's the guy that you want to bank on for the future. And I don't know what goes into their criteria when it comes to, this is the guy we think can be a main eventer versus this is the guy who's going to be in our mid-card. But I don't think it's going to change, Felix, until, and I'm not saying this to be dark or anything, but it's not going to change until Vince McMahon is no longer in charge of that company. And for that to happen, Vince McMahon has to no longer be on this planet. So I think until Vince McMahon is gone, you're not going to see that change happen. So yeah, it's great that, you know, these NXT guys are coming up, and some are hitting, some are missing. But at the end of the day, the best they can hope for is to be a really good mid-carder that a lot of people like, because I don't see them moving up to that next level.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But what was your take on the Divas match at Hell in a Cell? Not only that, that's a two-part question. And then the second half would be the whole issue with Paige that transpired on Raw the next night.
Oh, Felix, I think somebody in the writers' room in WWE Creative was listening to Metallica, because they were like, "Man, we got to turn the page. That's a great song. Turn the page." She's been on this like revolving door for a while, and then I think that the match at Hell in a Cell, it was solid. It wasn't the best women's match that's another problem that the main roster divas are going to have, because every time they put on a match, it's going to be compared to NXT, and so, you know, this match felt kind of like it. I don't even think it was as good as the last match that Nikki and Charlotte had. To be honest with you, Felix. But, you know, it was okay. And then on Monday night, we get the makeup of Team PCB, and then not even 45 minutes later, we get the breakup. And so, like,
wasn't there a song called Makeup to Break Up, or something like that?
The heel turn when Paige attacked Charlotte and Becky, it didn't mean much, if anything, because we knew it was coming. We knew that this is where they were headed. We just didn't know when it was going to happen again. So that didn't really set the world on fire. But I do think this is a fresh feud. I'm really excited to see what they can do with Paige and Charlotte, because A, I think it's going to be a really good match in the ring, but B, Paige is so much better playing this kind of crazy heel character who still has this like sweet edge to her. So I think it's going to be a good little clash of styles with her and Charlotte.
Well, I mean, I think, and what's funny, and I think you might have mentioned this, but what's funny with the Paige thing is that people are cheering her on. So they're either doing something wrong or they're doing something right, because they're still finding it hard to swallow that Charlotte has been given the title and not been defeated yet, and had her first real title defense against Nikki. Are they going to keep this title on her, on Charlotte, for a little bit longer? It's a possibility, but I think it's almost cliche to say maybe they're cheering the bad guy now, or the bad girl. But I don't know. Maybe it's time for Charlotte to turn heel or something, because I don't know. They like the bad girl in this whole situation, and Paige is the bad girl. Paige is the Looney Tunes. I don't know.
I think the problem, Felix, is Paige. I think Paige is a better heel than a babyface. To me, that's her best role. But the problem comes when you don't have a babyface that's strong enough to get the crowd reaction. And as much as I like Charlotte, to me, she is not the rah-rah babyface that the crowd can get behind. She's not Bayley, from NXT, to put it bluntly. Like, Bayley is somebody that, yes, you can get invested in, you can get behind. Oh, man, we love Bayley. She's the underdog. We're all huggers around here. But you don't have that same type of warm, fuzzy feeling when it comes to Charlotte. So I don't know what they're going to do, because you got Paige who's a heel. You got the Bellas. You still got Sasha Banks out there, who might be the most popular woman in the division, and she's a bad girl, too. So I don't know how they're going to work in Felix, but I am excited now that your favorites, the Bellas, aren't on top of the division anymore.
My favorite. But I am curious, going into the different subjects as far as this whole situation with the Wyatts and Undertaker and Kane. Now, speculation has come up as to if they decide to have a traditional 4-on-4, who would team up with the Brothers of Destruction? I mean, not saying who would be stupid enough, because then honestly, if you're going to be on a team, it damn sure better be a good team. And you know what? The Brothers of Destruction are no slouches. And we've got Wyatt, we've got Rowan, we've got Harper, we've got Strowman. There's your four there. Who would take on this powerful foursome other than the Brothers, and who would the Brothers go to for help? Some people have suggested Sting. Some people have suggested the Ascension. Some have thought maybe of the APA, have Bradshaw come out of retirement. I don't know. I mean, who do you think would be a good choice for these guys to team up with? Maybe the Hardy Boys? I doubt that. But
I think that it's going to go one of two ways, Felix, and it depends on the health of that man called Sting. Because if Sting can go, I don't even think you need to find another partner. You can go Brothers of Destruction and Sting at the disadvantage against the Wyatt family.
Why is that?
Because I think you can have a situation much like they did with Roman Reigns, where they were like, anybody that wants to help him will suffer too. And I thought they did a really cool thing on Monday night where it was just Bray, and then Kane came out, then the lights went out again, and you had a Wyatt in every corner. And I think it would be really cool if you have Taker and Kane come out, I don't know if you do it next week or the week after, and they say, you know what, we're going to settle this Survivor Series, come play in our playground, and then the lights go out, and instead of just Bray in the ring, you got all four Wyatts surrounding Kane and Taker, and what are they going to do? Who's got their back? Lights go out again. You think it's some more Wyatt family hocus pocus. They come back up, and Sting's there in the middle of the ring with a bat, and you got Sting, Taker, and Kane against the Wyatts. I think that's all you need, because, yeah, you could add Ambrose to that mix. Yeah, you could add somebody else to that mix. But if you got those three guys, I think that's good enough for that match.
Okay.
Now, the other option I want to throw out, Felix, if Sting is not able to compete by Survivor Series, I say we take it all the way old school. We go the Brothers of Destruction and the Dudleys versus the Wyatt family.
I can dig it. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. As much as I hate to admit it, I think that would be a more logical choice, because I don't think they want to put Sting in the ring anymore. I don't think they do. And honestly, unless it's WrestleMania, I don't think Sting will want to get back in the ring. And that's, as I said, I don't like admitting that, but I don't know where he stands physically. He's been another person I've been working on trying to get for almost a year now on the show. I'm still working on it. But he is somebody, he just had an interview recently with some of the guys at the Inside the Ropes in Glasgow, or I think it was in the UK, I'm not sure. When they'd asked about his health, he said he wasn't 100%, but the doctors wanted to take it easy for now, and hopefully there's no need for neck surgery. And to be honest, if he takes the neck surgery now, he may not come back.
No.
But, I mean, he's pushing almost 60, so, I mean, he don't have much left. I would have loved to have seen the Taker-Sting match, but I'm starting to lose hope with that. I don't like to admit that either, but I'm running out. I would love to see those three team up with one more possibility, and that being if I had to choose a fourth one to team up with them, how about we throw a wild card into this, and either one of these two would go, because nobody else really could. I mean, who else could they put? Not Cena, not Ambrose, not Reigns, not Ziggler, not Del Rio.
No.
Why not put Samoa Joe or even James Storm?
James Storm would be amazing. James, with those four other three guys, like I think James Storm would be amazing with that group. And that's another question, Felix. How are they going to bring this guy up? Because I think James Storm is somebody that can obviously help NXT, but to me, maybe the bigger benefit of James Storm, especially now, he's not getting any younger, is to bring him on the main roster, because they need guys that can either be a great babyface or a great heel, and James Storm can be both.
Yeah. Absolutely. Same thing can be said for Joe. Joe's he's old enough, and he's worked with some great talent. He's been around for a number of years, and with the exception of what happened to Tyson Kidd, which was a freak accident, but I mean, for the most part, Joe is really good in the ring. He's entertaining to watch. The matches he had with Kurt Angle were legendary. And before I will go any further, there is something I have to play real quick. I just remembered before our time was running out. This morning, we received a pleasant surprise that will be on our YouTube page here today, or possibly tomorrow, if it's not up already. Our Pipe Bomb Radio YouTube page was endorsed by a WWE Hall of Fame. Who was it? Well, let's take a listen, and you tell me.
Hi, this is Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And as you know, everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. And you're on the Pipe Bomb Radio YouTube page, where Felix and Nate bring you the best podcast on the net. Remember that. And never forget, everybody has a price for the $1 Million Man.
I love it. I still laugh about it every time I watch that. That was freaking awesome.
Great. I just waiting for Felix to start singing money, 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 money.
Right. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I also want to throw out there, I was in contact with a good friend of ours, Pat the Brat Piper, former guest of the show, avid listener, and he had mentioned we might be able to work with him to bring in the Highlanders. I think that was what their name was. Robbie and Rory, the Highlanders.
Yes.
Remember them? And reunite them with Pat, bring in the Brat Pack. What do you think about that?
I think that'd be fun. That would be like we already know how wild Pat Piper can get, but then you throw in the Highlanders on top of that. I think it'd be a fun show for the people to listen to.
I agree. And you just don't know what kind of stuff will be said and who might call in and visit. So you might get a call from.
Saul will call back.
Yeah, remember, folks, it's Saul, Rosen, Bird. Rosenberg. But I think that'd be a fun show. I think we might try to get that set up sometime in December. So we'll see what happens. But I do want to throw out a couple of updates as well for next week. We are still working on the possibility of bringing in a guest that Nate is very familiar with, but I won't mention any names just yet because we don't know what the status is until that happens. Once we know what it's going to be, who it's going to be, we'll be posting an update on our social media later this week. But November, we've got an action-packed month coming up. We've got some great talent, past and present, coming on the show, not to mention our incredible – we're going to do something special for our 25th anniversary of The Undertaker celebration. You know I will. I can't speak for my panelists that are going to be coming on because I've got a few that are going to come on that were scheduled last for Hell in a Cell, but I'm going to move them. I bumped into Survivor Series. And we're going to talk about Survivor Series moments.
You sent an invitation to Brock Lesnar to join us for that Undertaker chat?
Hell no. I did to Heyman, though.
Oh, that'd be excellent.
I figure Heyman's a better talker anyway.
Paul Heyman is great. Like even watching Hell in a Cell when Brock hit Taker with the low blow, like that's for SummerSlam. Like Heyman is just great at his job.
But yeah, as far as the next week, we got a special guest coming on to kick off November. Would love for it to be Heyman, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Not Your Mama's radio show has been on hiatus for the last 2 weeks. They were under the weather, but they've also been traveling. I know Oscar paid a visit to DDP out there in Georgia, and also did a fan fest out there. But I want to throw out also, because he just messaged me about it, was that Oscar just created, with the guys from the MWF, created an Indiegogo account.
Yes.
And this is to fund the shoot video that he's done in regards to his opinions on in the world of professional wrestling. We've got a couple of perks in there, quite a few in fact. You get an autographed Oscar 8x10 photo. You get the shoot DVD. You get to attend the Oscar DVD. You get the biggest perk of all is that Oscar, you can host a party with Oscar, and he'll come out to wherever you are around the country, and you guys will have the party of a lifetime. He'll even do a rap. He'll be rapping, and yeah, it'd be a lot of great perks. You can check out their Facebook page, their Twitter page, but it's Indiegogo.com/project/Oscar-WWE-New Generation shoot interview. It's a long one. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But
I'm going to say maybe we'll just tweet the link out to the people.
Yeah, I'll just post a link on the Facebook pages and Twitter pages that I have. And yeah, that'll be cool.
But yeah, I'm looking at the page right now, Felix, and you're right. There are some awesome perks for supporting Oscar, man. And I think that it's definitely something worth investing in. And if anybody's going to tell you a great story about what went down with the new generation era of the WWF, it's going to be Oscar. So show him some love. He's part of the Pipebomb family, and let's get this thing funded.
And for those who are going to WrestleMania, you can even have lunch with Oscar out there in Dallas. He'll be out in Dallas. I'll be out in Dallas. Nate might be out in Dallas. Mike from Booking the Territory, he said if Nate comes, it'll be a party with all of us. And God help us if Austin shows up, because he might show up too. But I haven't heard from Austin lately, so I did say tell Saul that if he hears Austin call into the show to get in here and kick his ass, because we're gonna have some fun with that boy.
Oh yeah.
And Saul's all for it, And if Pat was telling me, man, Saul's an asshole, but he'll do whatever, He'll come in there and mess with people just to mess with them. And he had fun messing with Austin. So.
Yeah. That was if you missed that show, go back and check it out on iTunes or Stitcher, the YouTube page, because it was tremendous. And
two things. Number one, Emil brought this to my attention today, which I thought was pretty damn sweet. You go to Google and you type in Pipebomb Radio, and we're the first thing on the page. And there's 179,000 results. You get our blog talk link. You get our website. You get our Facebook. You get our YouTube. You get our Twitter. You get the LinkedIn page that I have. You get the link to the T-shirts. The whole page is our stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool.
The whole page is us.
The whole freaking page is us. And as I said, there is
link
no
to the
chance
interview
in hell.
With Jack Mulligan, it's everything. T-shirts,
There's no way in hell y'all can't find us. Google us, find us, we're everywhere. And yeah, I mean, with that, I'm gonna pass the mic over to Nate. Tell us what's coming on this week for in the Kings of Sports, keeping it 100, and anything else you got going on, man.
All right, let me click out of this this Google search. I'm getting a bunch of pictures of Felix wearing a nice little vest. Okay, brother, I see your suit game, Felix.
Oh shit.
El
Jefe. I forgot about that one. Oh my God.
Oh man, but yeah, I got a lot of projects going on right now. Of course, you catch me every week right here with Felix on Pipebomb Radio. But if you are a fan of sports other than pro wrestling, you can check out the King of Sports with myself and Marcus Vanderberg of Yahoo Sports. And this week we're going to be talking NFL, and we're going to do a lot of stuff on the World Series, which is going on as we speak. So there'll be a lot of baseball talk this week as well. So that's King of Sports. You can find that on Facebook, facebook.com/The Kings of Sports, as well as on iTunes and Stitcher. And I've also got a show called Keep It 100 with myself and Brian Mann on the Fight Network, part of the Live Audio Wrestling family. And we have a show coming out next Friday. We're a bi-weekly show, and our first show had Glacier on it. Everybody loved that one. Our second show, we talked to Kevin X, former WWE writer, and Kelly Bell from Maryland Championship Wrestling, and did a show on Baltimore that people really dig. And the next show we've got coming out next week is about the rap and wrestling connection. So we got some pretty cool guests lined up, some that you may know, some that you might not know. But it's going to be a fun conversation about kind of the history of hip-hop when it comes to pro wrestling. And you can find that on the Fight Network, fightnetwork.com, as well as on iTunes and Stitcher. So Keep It 100, the King of Sports, and of course, Pipebomb Radio with the man in the best, El Jefe.
And I was going to throw out an update too. Looking at my schedule for 2016, I'm going to throw it out there to you guys and see what everybody thinks. I'll even post about it on our social media. I am thinking about changing days and times of Pipebomb Radio. The reason I say that is because I'm on the verge of graduating college, and with me coming up on my final spring semester, I will be in school in the evenings, late evenings at that, and I don't know where we're going to stand with Pipebomb Radio if we can do it this late anymore. At least for the time being. If we do it, whether we do it for the month of January, we would kind of either change a time or day, or we do it from like January to maybe I want to say May, where we either change the date and time. I'm working on that. We're thinking about moving it from Tuesdays, and if we don't move it from Tuesdays, we'll probably either try to go on earlier. I need to concentrate on finishing this college degree up, and as much as it pains me because I love to do it Tuesday nights at 8, because I've been doing it for so long at this time, there is a good possibility we might change the times and the dates. So stay tuned for that, guys. If that's something you guys, hopefully with the change, you guys follow us on and keep listening. But be informed, 2016 is going to see a lot of changes. And they're definitely to help improve and to better us as well. Not only myself, but Nate as well. And I think Nate will definitely get a kick out of the earlier times and maybe a different date.
Oh yeah,
but,
everything's kind of life is always a state of change to it. So we definitely want to see you do good in school. So you can be the next genius. You can be the new Lanny Powerful. We want to see you do well with that, brother. So, just stay tuned. You follow us on Facebook and Twitter and subscribe to the show, and we'll keep you updated on all the changes that come on down the pipe.
Lanny would be another great person I'd love to have on, and I'd love to have come back and just have some fun and chat with us. But I want to send out, because it just happened recently over the last few days, since we've been off the air. We were on last week, but friends of our show, friends of Pipe Bomb Radio. They're very good friends. Love them to death. The Von Erich Nation, the Von Erich family suffered a loss this last week as the matriarch of the Von Erich family, Doris Atkinson, passed away. And on behalf of all of us here at Pipe Bomb Radio, we send our most heartfelt condolences to Kevin, to Ross, to Marshall, the entire Von Erich clan. Our prayers are with you, and we anytime you guys are ready to come on back, you know we're here for you guys. But, definitely, they have been through this year tremendous loss over the last 30 years, but they're always so gracious, so respectful, and we just love to have them on every year when we get a chance.
I echo those thoughts, Brother Felix. You know, I think one of the first shows I ever did on Pipe Bomb was with Kevin, and it was it was one of the highlights of my broadcasting career. You know, somebody that I watched and somebody that I watched with my mom. You know, so there was that connection of that brought me and my mom together watching World Class back in the day. And so, you know, I always love when we get a chance to talk to Kevin, and talking to the boys was awesome as well. And so, yeah, we send all of our condolences and our prayers and thoughts out to the Von Erich family, and they're tough people. So we understand it's a great loss, but they will survive like they always have. So, we love you guys, and we're here for you.
Absolutely. But we're going to go ahead and call it a wrap for tonight. Like I said, stay tuned for our social media. Check us out on Pipe Bomb Radio. The pipebombradio.net, where links us up to all of our social media. You guys can check us out. If you can't find my website, go to Google, type in Pipe Bomb Radio. You can't go wrong. The whole page is dedicated to us. So there's no chance in hell you guys are going to tell me I couldn't find it. I don't believe you. You didn't look hard enough. Well, anyways, great show tonight. Great guests. Kept it pretty short and sweet. I mean, we're not going to go the full 2 hours tonight.
I can't
coming forward.
I can't say. I literally have to leave because I got to go to the costume store and buy a wig.
Right.
I'm going trick or treating as Austin this year, so I need to buy a big Jimmy Neutron wig and buy a tuna melt from Subway so I could really fit the character.
Oh, here we go. No comment. But on behalf of Nate and myself as Pipe Bomb Radio guys, we thank you for joining us tonight on our Halloween edition of Pipe Bomb Radio. Check us out on the very first show of November next week. In the meantime, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. Good night, everybody. Good night, Nate. Talk to you next week, man.
All right, brother.